players have been. 157 our next stop, and this is one of the weights where there was a question on who Virginia Tech would go with. Would it be Clayton Ray or Rafael Hipolito? And they are going to go with Hipolito. 11-3 this year, taking on the veteran Ed Scott. ACC champion back in 2022, the returning All-American, two-time NCAA qualifier.
And there was a slight sense of confidence talking to Coach Roby beginning the match about Hipolito. He thinks that this freshman has something to bring to the table tonight.
Rafael Hipolito.
Out of the fingers, guys, out of the fingers.
Brazil native. Spent his high school years in Virginia, Independence. It's really a unique story. He was a three-time state champion, but he was a late arrival to the sport of wrestling. He started wrestling in September of his sophomore year. He went on to win 3 state championships. Now, his background was jiu-jitsu. He was a 4-time world champion, and he quickly made the transition to wrestling, and his footwork has been certainly something that coaches and spectators have paid a lot of attention to because he is quick, his horizontal movement.
You're right about that. His footwork is very loose, and he'll be in a standing position, and he'll drop down quickly and shoot through a double. But if he doesn't shoot his doubles right, Ed Scott will throw an underhook and put you in your back. So that means your elbows have got to be in on the doubles. Your elbows can't be out, especially with someone who's good at underhooks. So you see the left underhook by Ed Scott. Look at this. Good wrestling here. Is he going to finish here? Takedown.
Excellent job by Ed Scott. You saw his versatility. Dropped down to the legs, went from that single to the double and finished it.
He finished, he popped his hit, and this is what people are doing now. With doubles, they're not choosing a side. They want to lift and spike the person to their butt. Why? Because it keeps them from scrambling. Usually you see doubles and people want to put their head to a side, and that's when the funk and the rolls happen. But Ed Scott, like many high-level wrestlers, are locking underneath the butt and bringing the wrestler right back to his backwards butt so there's no scrambles.
Scott sticks in that claw. Minute 17 and counting, first period. Tripod position there briefly for Hipolito, and Scott traps him right back down.
This is where you find out the difference when you're a freshman. Freshmen usually don't wrestle too much on the mat. When you come to college, it's a whole different ball game. Ed Scott has been doing this for a long time, and he's going to continue to put pressure on Hipolito.
Looking for that mat return, has him up in the air. Hipolito with his right arm as a brace, prevents it. Right back up to his feet. Continuation of action, goes out of bounds.
Hey, Matt, switch me up.
46 seconds left in the period. You want to end the period in the top position. Let's see if Hipolito has an explosion here, or Ed Scott is going to continue to keep that claw ride. Hipolito is trying to get to position. Good job. Get a little roll and back to his feet.
Scott, it's over a minute of riding time, 3-1. Ed Scott, who's taken a couple of blemishes in ACC action, lost the
fingers, guys.
sudden victory thriller to Sonny Santiago of UNC. Well, you look at some of his losses, 2 have been in sudden victory. He had a 1-point loss to Teak Travis of Oklahoma State.
You notice right now, Ed Scott is not being baited. As much as Hipolito is moving his feet, which is good foot movement, Ed Scott is keeping his stance just in case of that explosive double that Hipolito has.
Green defers. Red chooses bottom.
Tony Roby, year 7 in Blacksburg. He's done the last 4 years in ACC duels. He was a 1997 finalist for Edinburgh, a 2-time All-American.
One.
Virginia Tech to 2 ACC tournament titles, 2 dual meet titles, looking for number 3 tonight. Scott with the quick escape, 4-1.
Oh yeah, this is now a swing in the match. You're starting to see the look in Hipolito's eyes as Ed Scott is keeping the pressure on. You're also noticing that on Hipolito's shots, that right arm is hanging a little outside, and Ed Scott is defending that double leg with a left underhook. So here's the trip. Remember, there is reaction time, which is very questionable, but at this point, he secures the takedown. Ed Scott up 7-1. And over a minute of riding time.
Cover legally.
Advantage time.
Both had an opportunity to talk to Scott this week. He talked about trying to diversify his offense, and he also brought up the point that he's not the underdog anymore. He has been amazed at how much his opponents have studied his offense, trying to cut down what he likes to do, and he's showing some of that diversity and that approach with how he's been able to get a couple of the takedowns here on Hipolito.
3-point takedowns make a difference. There's that double that we were talking about. He's running his feet. That's that double we were talking about. He lowered his level, and when he got there, he didn't stop. He kept running his feet. So you're starting to see the game attack.
It's going to rally, Rock. It's going to come from his feet.
Exactly. And you're starting to see Coach Roby's encouraging him to continue to keep going on, because Ed Scott in the past couple of matches has kind of faded later on. We saw it with UNC. Hipolito has got to be more consistent in keeping his elbows in and his hips underneath him with that double, because if he's extending himself too much, Ed Scott can put him in a headlock.
Final few moments of period 2, and it's a little bit tighter. Scott marches to the third, leading by 3. Pat Popolizio, he's been a finalist for the National Coach of the Year 5 of the past 6 years, 3-time ACC Coach of the Year, 3 straight top 10 national finishers for Popolizio. You just take a look at the environment here at Reynolds Coliseum. That is because of what Pat Popolizio has done with this program since he took it over. Key third period. Hipolito up to his feet. As that arm trap goes, Scott brings him right back down. Advantage time continuing to escalate. Here, a minute 40 in Ed Scott's favor.
This is the difference with freshmen versus seniors, especially All-American seniors, the mat wrestling. Hipolito wants to escape and get to his feet where he's been more successful. Ed Scott's got to keep his elbows low and keep that right arm ready for that double. You see that hand on the mat, Sean? He's standing low just to catch that shot and re-attack.
Scott in on that leg, trips and gets 3.
So at this point, they said keep him down. NC State says keep him down. Don't let him up. Now my thought was like, hey, why not let him up and there's a re-attack there. And then, you start to see a little fatigue in how his defense was.
Stand up, stand up.
And here is the decision to go for bonus.
Exactly. You're thinking bonus point possibility. And that is what changed NC State's coaches' minds as far as, do we ride him or do we go back up to the feet? Maybe a little blood in the water here. Straight on double by Hipolito. Whizzer by Scott. Scott gets into a better position. Still has that left side underhook. Hipolito does. Wrestlers, upper body action near the edge, and they finally disengage. 35 seconds to go. Riding time lock, so Scott right now leading by 5. A takedown will give NC State a bonus point with a major decision.
Ed Scott just has to keep a good stance, keep elbow, hands to the mat. And looks like NC State has just tied up this dual meet.
Tied at 3 with the first couple of breaks.
They needed this match after loss by Jackson Arrington. Ed Scott wrestled a smart match, elbows low, kept the underhook there, and gets to a point where it's tied up 3-3. Caleb Henson showing his number 2 in the match. And then Ed Scott from thunderous takedown. Coming up, it's still another toss-up. Connor Brady, Derek Fields, and then the returning national champion against Alex Faison.